Good morning, friends. Pastor Kelly here with you for the Monday edition of Sound Bytes. We're going to continue with our series on trauma, loss, and grief. And today we want to look at the word loss. We're going to look over the next couple weeks at loss, grief, crisis, the word crisis, and trauma, and how they all work together and link together. But let me start with the word loss here on this Monday. As we've said earlier, when we think of loss, we think of the loss through death of people really that we love, or something, not always some person, but something that we love. Now, I just want to start with loss was never intended to be part of the human race. Death was never intended to be part of the human race. Saying goodbye to people we love was never intended to be part of the human race. It's a product of sin. It's a product of separation from God that happened in the Garden of Eden. If that didn't happen, we would never experience these things. These experiences of loss and grief and crisis and trauma are all effects of the fall of man from perfect fellowship with God. Now, that doesn't mean that God doesn't give us the tools to go through that in life. He absolutely does give us the tools to go through that in life. But with that said, we cannot deny their existence or deny that these things aren't real in our lives and other people's lives. But loss, when we think about loss, we think of, again, saying goodbye to a loved one, but it's more encompassing than that. It could be moving from a location. It's something as simple as that. You sense there's a loss there. It could be saying goodbye to a career that finally ended, an enterprise that you were fully engaged in, and then all of a sudden it didn't come to pass. It could be the loss of a dream, an economic dream, a marital dream, a security pursuit, or something like that, and it doesn't come to pass even though you've exerted a tremendous amount of personal effort, emotion, and mind into everything, and it doesn't come to pass, and you sense it's a sense of loss. Again, nothing that we were ever intended of to go through, but we go through it. It's part of life. Sometimes these losses are momentary. They sort of just stops right there, and we get through it. Other times, it can devastate us and lead into other things in our life. I always had this dream as a young boy of playing for the Boston Red Sox. I wanted to play left field in front of the Green Monster. Well, I think those days have probably passed me at 62 years old. I don't think I'll ever play for the Red Sox. I sense that loss. I'm probably going to have to settle for the Yankees or the Rays or one of those other teams, not that good, to go pro. So I have to start focusing on that. But I want to just focus, look at this. I'm being funny there, but these losses of life are the real deal. Don't ignore them. Don't underplay them. Don't hyper spiritualize them. Don't pretend like they're not real. Don't pretend like they don't hurt. They do. They do hurt. They hurt because it's not God's perfect best for us like He intended. They're part of our human life, as tough as that is and as difficult as that is, that we go through. And they can come in many different forms, many different shapes, and many different sizes. This thing that we call loss. Now, from there, we're going to launch into what grief is, crisis is, and trauma is. And you can see how these all play together. And hopefully you'll find these 4 mini devotionals helpful in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Helpful not only to you, but to folks in your life circle that you can share them with. Bless you all, and we'll see you on Wednesday.